Namaskar everyone and welcome to Sunday. I've been speaking to you on the power of sadhana, but today let's take sadhana to the mind. The mental dimension. It's different to the emotional, it's different to the physical. Mind has awesome power. You have the power to create an idea, a vision. You have the power to make that vision manifest. You have the power to imagine, to visualize, and to create in your mind's eye. That's a mental domain. You have the power to reason out things that you can decide how to treat with life, understanding the nature of light and darkness. Dark thoughts and thoughts full of light. Of course, the gunas play in the mental field. Those are tamas, which is the ignorance, darkness. Then there's rajas, which is the ego activity. Active ego. And then there is sattva, which is balance, light, goodness. But you need to know the awesome power of the mind. We are told, as we think, so we become. As we think, so we become. Our thoughts create our reality. Of course, you know, we can change the reality, right? Because the reality is in the maya, is in the illusion, so we can change it. And depending on where your ego is in the play, so will be your power. If the ego is held in tamas, darkness and ignorance, you'll be driven by the world around you. You'll not be self-driven. And if the ego gets caught in the rajas from that ignorance, you can imagine how destructive the ego can be. In its patterns of fear, in its patterns of self-destruction, in its patterns of aggression, manipulation, ego patterns, rajas driven by tamas. But when you become spiritually awakened, when the mind begins to immerse itself, engage itself in the light, sattva, wonderful changes happen. You can do so much. You can grow in consciousness. You can expand the consciousness. And you can have access to more of the power that lies within you. Do you know the power that lies within you? You can change a whole space with mental power. You can tap into the divine energy within you, the evolutionary power. Align to it. And begin to feel that God is behind your activities. That you are never alone, that God is behind. And you can become so attuned to that divine energy and divine will that you know what to say in every situation, you know how to decide in every situation, you know where to go in every decision. It's amazing when you can connect with that God power and align your mind to it. We call it intuition, inner guidance. So the mental domain has the ego. The ego, this I, is a product of the mind. It's called ahankar. The I. I want, I am, I have, I don't like. The I. We are driven by the I constantly. But the I is an illusion. It's not the reality, because behind the I is the true power. What gives power to the I? But the I is there for the play, the karmic play, the ego. So the ego is part of your mind. So it is important to be mindful of the ego throughout the human experience. Where's my ego placed? Is it in tamas? Is it in rajas? Driven by tamas? Is it in sattva? And you have the power when you can see the ego, when you can see the ego tendencies, when you can see the ego patterns, you have the power through that observation to transform it. Because you have the power to reason, change a decision, make a new one, align to the light, not the darkness. This is a power you have. But how much do you use it? And how are you influenced by the dark world around you? Because we are in a dark world driven by tamas and rajas. Sattva is in the minimum. Sattva will grow. So how is this reflected in your own life and consciousness and the human experience? I'm continuously aware of every thought that moves through my being, every emotion, and the experience it brings to me. That's why I would never be aggressive. I don't need to be. I can check it. Of course, the animal nature of the body can bring aggression, but I see it immediately. The animal nature of the body would tend to be greedy, possessive, territorial. Those are animal functions. It's our lower brain, reptilian brain. But do I give way when these animal tendencies come in from the environment and come into me? Do I give way to it? No, I watch it. I'm not an animal. I'm an immortal being. I affirm who I am. And I act from that awareness, that affirmation. So you see how important it is to be able to observe every tendency and every level of being? Are you driven by the sexual nature of the human body that's animalistic? Or have you purified that nature and can bring divine love into it? Are you able to transmute that prana that goes into the sexual area? Are you able to transmute that prana and bring it more into the light? That's the power you have, reproductive power you have with that sacral chakra. Are you able to go to the root and ground in the root and feel so firm that in your meditation you can feel, wow, I'm fully in control of this body. And I can channel energies everywhere into the body. I always say, when you want to pour water in this, you can't allow it to be shaky. You hold it firm, and then you pour the water into it. When you hold the body firm with the root chakra, you find a joy in being able to drive energies or channel energies through it. Now, the channeling power comes through the mind. You hold a thought or driving power into something. And then you'll realize that through this manas chakra that connects with the external senses, you can drive energy anywhere through the body. So you need to be aware of the powers that you have in the mental space. It's the mind that is the driver in this space. It's a mind that is able to reason and observe. It's a mind that is able to control the human animal. It's the mind. The ego, of course, using the mind and the different tools in the mental space. You can imagine, you can think, create a thought, you can create an image, you can create an idea, you can create a vision, you can reason it out, you can change it. I find it tremendously fascinating. And I like to visualize. If I take myself into that manas chakra, and I focus there, I can begin to visualize things and almost see them as though they are real in the physical world. But what I'm doing there, it's a secret, because I'm creating the template in the inner world of what I want. So if I want to bring more healing energy into my body, I just go to the manas chakra and I create this template of well-being. And I hold it firmly in the body, that the body cells will vibrate with it. See the power of the mind to heal? And if I want to help someone, I bring them to mind, I focus on them, I tune into their chakras, to the heart chakra, to the mind chakra, to the body, to the light, and I hold that image firm of that person being in the light and not darkness, or that person being healed. And it's phenomenal when you can make that connection with a person, and you can help to lift them in the light. It's phenomenal what the mind can do. So it begs the question, what do you do with your mind every day? Do you allow random thoughts to occupy the mind? Do you waste your energy in random thinking? Or are you able to hold the mind with tight reins and manage your mind? Because the animal tendencies are within us, the mind would become caught in them. The energies of the planets are with us. They also influence the mind. Human beings around us, their energies, through association, also influence. And all these invade your inner space. So are you in control of the inner space? Or life is in control of your inner space? It's your space, it's your personal space. You have to be in control of it. So you need to learn to observe the mind. It's called mindfulness practice. Watch every thought. And then you can clean up the mind. If you find that the mind is too scattered, your breath is restless, your body is restless, engage in the breathing practice, breath awareness, just like what you did in the meditation. And you'll find that the breath has a big influence on the mind. So you make the breath more rhythmic. You begin to become more aware of your breathing patterns, and you can bring the mind into a far better space. And then scattered thoughts. You bring a mantra in the mind until you don't need the mantra anymore because it becomes ajapa. It happens by itself. And then you find this wonderful ability to have a mantra in the mind, to say it when you need to say it, and to let it go, and it's still there. The awareness of the mantra is still there. That's how you protect your mind. That's a sadhana for the mind. Of course, there is more, but in this little talk today, I just want to inspire you about how important the mind is, and how important it is to observe the mind, how important it is to control this animal body that cannot drive the mind, how important it is to look at all the life influences, planetary influence, genetic influences, external influences of the space, and be able to use your mind to generate the armor of protection through sadhana, and to be able to use your mind to fill your whole being with light, and being able to use your mind to transmit energy into space, become a transmitter, and to protect yourself against vulnerability. So there's a lot to say about the mind in sadhana. I hope that this will be inspiring to you today. So let me wish you an awesome day today. Look at your mind, protect it, nourish it, align it, and attune it to divine will. And you will always have the best day. You'll always have the best protection. And you will always make the right decisions. And you will be a great blessing to your world. Have a blessed day, everyone. Namaskar.